Hi, everyone. I'm starting a new podcast where we have two distinguished guests, Wesley Oliver, a professor of law at Duquesne, and Morgan Gray, adjunct at Duquesne, doing his PhD in intelligence systems. Hi, guys. It's great you're here and you joined me in this podcast. We are going to discuss today how the explosion of new generative AI transformed the legal education. What do you think about it? Will it impact the legal education system? Wes, Morgan, what's your opinion?
My view is that we need to recognize that our students now, like the lawyers in the future, will have access to these tools in real life. But I don't think this is something we should be afraid of. They don't use slide rules or do hand-long division at NASA. There are calculators and supercomputers that do calculations that would take enormous amounts of time by hand. If we use GPT chat and these devices that are capable of generating text for what they are useful at, which is generating a really bad first draft, for providing ideas, for providing a starting point that has to be intricately checked and refined, then I think this is a tool that will eliminate some of the grunt work that lawyers have as they're trying to generate that awful first draft that they'll later edit. So if we teach them to make this part of their education, if we teach them how to use this tool properly, I think that it will actually improve the education experience and prepare them for the world they're going to inhabit.
What's your opinion, Morgan?
Yeah, I think that, we're seeing, especially in the realm of natural language processing and generative models, the field as a whole is really seeing an explosion of these generative models that are reaching really nice results and really nice baselines on a number of different tasks. And so sometimes, I think maybe it feels like the field is moving too fast, and we really don't have a time to understand what the full properties of a model, before the next one comes out. In that context and within law schools, I think it's law students are best served to position themselves to understand what these tools can be used for, how they can be used, why they should be used, and leveraged effectively. It might not be so bad to maybe start learning about a legal issue using generative models, prompting the model to give an answer, and certainly to have a focus for students to critically assess the output of the generative model, to ask it for context, citations, to use it in a safe and ethical manner for sure.
Do you think methods would change? Do you think we will learn more critical thinking than knowledge and legal information? What's your position about methods of learning and change?
In the age of generative models, what skill becomes even more critical than ever is critical analysis and critical reading of an output of a generative model. Being able to read what the model has given you and assess, whether it's accurate, assess whether, the language that the model has provided is correct, that it's saying the right thing. In terms of skills that need to be emboldened, and like you said, new approaches to learning, certainly critical reading skills and analysis, I believe, is going to become even more important.
I want to follow up on that. Yeah. The class that Morgan and I teach at Duquesne, we think is a real essential component of law schools these days. There are only 3 law schools. We're one of them that teaches this in the U.S., a class on coding for lawyers. We think lawyers need to understand the basics of what goes on under the hood, so that as they start to look at what these models are doing, they won't be clueless as to how these things are coming into being. They couldn't design or create or even refine a GPT chat creation machine, but in understanding the output, if you have some basic understanding as to how these machines work, then you're in a better position to know when they're getting the right answer, to think about what's going on, to explain their limits, and to be critical of where you should be.
Thank you guys for a great discussion, great insights, and I invite all the people who watched us for next episode. See you. Bye-bye.